the war that began after peace was declared. For 100 years, the kingdoms of Alderaan and Raverin bled each other dry in the longest war their world had ever known. Generations were born into the din of battle, their lullabies the clash of steel. Families knew only the ache of loss, and the fertile land between them, once called the Valley of Kings, a paradise of green fields and singing rivers, became a silent grey expanse of ash and bone. At last, exhausted and broken, the two rulers agreed to end the bloodshed. In a grand ceremony upon the Bridge of Dawn, the very place the first battle cry had echoed a century before, they met. Before the tear-streaked faces of their people and the weary eyes of their armies, they signed the peace treaty. It was sealed with a mingling of royal blood, a promise to heal the world. Across the kingdoms, bells rang out, not for victory, but for survival. Soldiers, young and old, dropped their heavy swords, the clang echoing a final, collective sigh of relief. They dreamed of homes they barely remembered, but peace was a fragile dawn, lasting only a heartbeat. That same night, as celebratory torches lit up the valley, a cataclysmic explosion shattered the Bridge of Dawn. The ancient stone crumbled into the chasm below, taking both rulers with it in a storm of fire and rock. A stunned silence fell, broken only by the crackle of flames. Then came the screams. The world woke in horror and confusion. Before the truth could find its voice, lies had already poisoned every heart. Whispers, seeded by unseen hands, turned grief into accusation. "A Raverin plot!" cried the people of Alderaan. "Alderaan's treachery!" roared the soldiers of Raverin. Rage, potent and blinding, spread faster than any wildfire. And before the sun could rise on the first day of peace, war began again. But this was a different war. It was not for land or crowns, but for pure, raw vengeance. It was a war of hatred, fought in the streets and in the shadows, with a brutality that made the century of conflict before it seem like a mere prelude. What they didn't know was the truth, a truth buried in deceit. The explosion was not an act of war, but an act to preserve it. It was orchestrated by a hidden council of nobles, men from both kingdoms who had grown rich and powerful from the endless conflict. In a secret chamber, as the world burned, they raised their glasses. To war, one of them, a man named Valerius, toasted with a cold smile, the only true engine of profit. As the world drowned in its own fury, a young historian named Elian discovered fragments of this truth. Hidden within a late queen's personal correspondence, he found letters hinting at a cabal of merchants who saw the peace treaty as their ruin. He sent his most trusted friend, a swift rider named Kyle, with a coded message. Kyle never arrived. His horse was found wandering the plains, its saddlebags slashed and empty. Every witness Elian found seemed to vanish into the shadows. Peace, he realized, was a truth so dangerous it had become its own executioner. Decades passed. The kingdoms were no more, just ghost-haunted ruins on a poisoned landscape. One day, a child scavenging for scraps beneath the rubble of the collapsed bridge found an old leather-bound journal. It was Elian's. The final desperate entry was still legible. War did not end because peace was declared. War began because the truth was feared. And so, the story became a whispered legend, a warning passed down through the shattered remnants of generations. Peace can be signed in a moment, but a world can be lost to a single, well-placed lie.